Welcome to this fascinating story about one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, Audrey Hepburn. While we know her as the elegant, graceful actress who enchanted audiences with her performances in Breakfast at Tiffany's and Roman Holiday, there's another side to her story that you may not have heard about: her secret life as a spy during World War II. Many people are unaware of Audrey Hepburn's connection to espionage during the war. Born in 1929 in Brussels, Belgium, Audrey's early years were marked by the turmoil of war. When World War II began, she was only 10 years old, but she would grow up to experience firsthand the hardships and challenges of a world at war. Her family was living in the Netherlands during the Nazi occupation, and young Audrey found herself in the midst of the chaos and danger that swept across Europe. During the occupation, Audrey's mother, Ella van Heemstra, was heavily involved in the Dutch resistance. As the Nazis tightened their grip on the Netherlands, Ella took risks to oppose them, and Audrey, despite being just a teenager, became involved as well. Her mother's actions would unknowingly pave the way for Audrey's own covert involvement in the resistance. It's believed that Audrey Hepburn became an unlikely but effective courier for the Dutch resistance. Though she wasn't a trained spy, her background as a ballet dancer and her graceful demeanor allowed her to move through the streets of Amsterdam with ease. The Germans, who had taken control of the city, did not suspect her, and that made her an ideal candidate for secret missions. Audrey would carry important messages or documents hidden in her shoes or sewn into her clothing, passing information between resistance cells without raising suspicion. This was especially important because communication channels were constantly monitored by the German occupiers. Her role was mostly as a messenger, but it was vital for coordinating actions against the Nazi forces. Her ballet performances, which Audrey continued to pursue even during the war, often acted as cover for her covert missions. During these performances, she would sometimes meet with resistance members, providing them with crucial intelligence while maintaining the guise of being just another young dancer. At just 14 years old, Audrey was already involved in life-threatening activities, risking her own safety to help the Dutch resistance. The young girl who would one day become a global icon was already demonstrating extraordinary courage and determination in the face of danger. Despite being in such a dangerous environment, Audrey did her best to stay strong and positive. She never spoke much about her time in the resistance, likely due to the sensitivity of the work she was doing. The work Audrey did was highly secretive and carried a heavy risk. But she remained determined to do her part in the fight against Nazi oppression. Throughout the war, Audrey's family suffered, as did many others in occupied territories. Food shortages were common, and the stress of living under Nazi rule weighed heavily on the people. In some of her interviews later in life, Audrey shared how she and her family lived in poverty, often going without food for days at a time. However, Audrey's resilience would shine through, and she continued to support the resistance in any way she could. She took part in underground activities, which included fundraising and aiding in smuggling operations. While some of her actions were risky, they were crucial to the resistance's efforts. After the war ended, Audrey's life would take a dramatically different turn. She moved to London to study ballet professionally, and eventually, she made her way to Hollywood, where she would rise to stardom. But even as she became a global movie icon, Audrey never forgot her humble and challenging beginnings. It wasn't until later in her life that the world would learn more about her wartime experiences. During interviews, she would occasionally reveal some details about the role she played in the Dutch resistance, but she rarely sought attention for her actions. Instead, she remained focused on her humanitarian work, especially with UNICEF, where she devoted much of her life to helping children in need around the world. In 1989, Audrey Hepburn was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom for her humanitarian work, a fitting recognition for a woman who had spent much of her life giving back. But what many don't realize is that her courage during World War II laid the foundation for the kind of person she would become. Though Audrey Hepburn is best known for her acting career and her tireless charity work, her role as a young spy in the Dutch resistance shows a different side to her character. It was a time in her life that shaped who she would become and helped build the resilience that would guide her throughout her future endeavors. She may not have been a secret agent in the traditional sense, but Audrey Hepburn's contributions during World War II were crucial. Her courage, resourcefulness, and willingness to risk her life to help others in their fight against tyranny make her a true unsung hero of the war. So, next time you watch one of Audrey Hepburn's classic films or hear her name mentioned, remember that she was not just the elegant star we know and love. She was also a young woman who did her part in one of the most difficult times in history. And she did so with the same grace, courage, and determination that would later define her career and legacy. Through her work as a dancer, actress, and humanitarian, Audrey Hepburn proved that you don't have to wear a cape or carry a gun to be a hero. Sometimes, bravery comes in the form of quiet acts of resistance, courageously standing up for what's right, even when the world seems to be falling apart. In the end, Audrey Hepburn's story is one of beauty, resilience, and compassion, both on and off the screen. She remains an inspiration to millions of people worldwide, not just because of her incredible acting talent, but also because of her quiet strength and the remarkable way she navigated the challenges of her time. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the lesser-known chapter of Audrey Hepburn's life. If you were surprised by this story, or if you learned something new about this Hollywood legend, please make sure to like and share this video with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe for more interesting stories about the lives of remarkable people.